Hello, welcome to Line War. I'm John Joe, and today we have a 2v2 with Mr. Murray, who is up over here. We have Nubs, who is red here. This team, Alpha Team, has set up a trade route using their instant capital there, or the instant construction over here. So they've got a trade route set up pretty much straight away. They will still need to build the transport ships. I can't remember what they're actually called. The trader ships. And that'll boost their income right at the beginning of the game. We've got an airfield, 2 factories. Over here we have a factory and he's going for some industry, so he's getting some eco going. Now on the other team we have number 3, which is Numpty playing here. They're actually kind of right on top of each other. They do also have trade route capabilities, but they are sort of spread out more. They have a higher potential, but it's not as easy to set up straight away. So both players going for airfields, factories, and a barracks there. We've got 2 factories here, and definitely more eco. And Daz over here, who's light blue, is going for some navy, which is going to be good because there's a lot of energy out here. So that could really benefit him later on in this game. Let's turn the fog of war off and see how far they've gotten to each other. I think these 2 players here have actually started a bit too close to each other. As you can see here, they're fighting over the same territory. So that could be a bit problematic, maybe slowing down their eco when the other team already have a bit of a boosted eco going on. Now it looks like Nubs started with this territory, didn't take this with any units, so he just clicked on it for his starting location. There we go, we have a transport ship out now, cargo ship, and he's off on his way. Both players have that coming now. That is going to be a big boost to their eco very early on. So far they're just expanding, so let's speed up the process on ×2 for a little bit. And both players on both teams are spreading out as fast as they can. Numpty seems to be focused on Sam and a few tanks coming out and some helicopters, which is a great idea, but it is going to slow down his ability to capture. And there we go, we got Nubs getting some submarines out there. So I don't think he can cross under here. He might be able to, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't think he can cross under that. It's just a bit out of the map border. Over here we can see the helicopters moving into the center, which is probably going to be a key location to defend. Both players are going to be pushing straight through that center. On the other side, Daz is going for some bombers, whereas Numpty is getting some strikers, which could be a good combination, but these helicopters are going to tear down everything on the fields right now. We do have Sam in production, but there's only 2 on the field up here. They're way out of position right now. The helicopters will get a few free kills there. There we go, the strikers are moving in now to clear off some of the ground, just like the helicopters did. But it looks like I can see more helicopters moving in. There we go, you can see the white circles appearing over there. The strikers have moved in. Let's slow this back down. And we have the artillery moving over the mountain, which is going to be a great position to defend as they come over this mountain. If yellow needs to retreat, or orange, he can easily place some units there to hold that back for a bit. It does look like blue's spread out quite a lot. He's able to control a lot of this area. And pretty much taken out the majority of the ground forces here to begin with in the game. Red, on the other hand, has some tanks, which would be great to go and attack with, but unfortunately Daz has a large force moving in. Not content on trying to attack the base, still going for territories. And they will probably be successful at taking out these units, stopping I can't remember his name, Nubs, there we go, from taking over some more land over there. So that's going to slow down his eco a bit. These helicopters are coming in, and there is absolutely no SAM in this area, so those helicopters have free reign to kill everything there until Daz responds with something. So the infantry can shoot back at the helicopters, they're just not really that effective. As you can see, they are trying to shoot back. It is smoking, so they will go down eventually. There we go, but they took down one of those and damaged the other, and there's 2 people on the run in the mountains. Submarine has come out. I think it's going to try and go down here, or is it going to just capture territories with it? I'm not sure just yet. They definitely can't go over the top. Well, they might be able to go over the top part of the map, actually. There is a gap. Maybe. Over here in the top section, blue has set up a defensive line and is being supported by these helicopters. And there are SAM in the area, so these SAM are probably going to take out those helicopters there. Probably not quickly, but they will do a fair bit of damage on one, at least. There we go, the one helicopter goes down, the other retreats. And there's more defenses in the middle here. Being only infantry, though, is kind of a bit hard, especially when you're fighting some artillery, because the artillery could just move in without anything else and fire at that. Down in the south, we have Daz fighting Nubs. And there are 4 tanks over here trying to take on some infantry. The infantry are not going to win that battle. Don't get me wrong, I love a lot of infantry trying to take on as many things as they can. But there's just not enough infantry there. That is a distraction right now, so that is holding those tanks back. And down here, they are trying to capture some extra territories. Nubs is on the run. Daz is pushing forward. Some SAM are moving forward up here. They're going to try and take on these SAM units that are protecting the area as the infantry rush these artillery. The defensive line over here has been taken out as well, so these artillery are moving in, taking on those guys there, and I think this is a fairly equal match. They've even got 2 SAM each. But blue is winning this fight. There is an infantry here that could distract them. There we go, we've even got the bombers in play now, so Daz is providing air support in the center. But SAM are moving in. And that's quite a lot of SAM over here. We got another one moving in for blue as well. This one's already taken a lot of hits, and that one's probably going to go down any sec. There we go, it's gone down. So, over in this section of the map, it looks like a lot of helicopters have come in over here and pretty much wiped everything out. The tanks over here are clearing up the last of them. They did lose a tank to those infantry. And there is a group of infantry going for a barracks over here. The artillery are really trying to defend it, but it looks like they're getting a bit close. I don't think there's enough infantry there to take it out. But to be fair, it is already heavily damaged. I have joined in halfway through that strike there. I think they might get it, actually. It does depend. I mean, these guys aren't targeting this. They are just trying to walk through it. So these two aren't targeting the barracks. They're actually targeting that guy. But they do take it down nonetheless. So Nubs' plan so far is clearing up with the helicopters. He's moving some units this way. He's got some tanks for defense, which is usually definitely more of an offensive move. The strikers have gone from this area trying to focus their attention up in the north, but there is still some SAM defending there. That infantry will probably take that SAM out there as well. And it looks like Mr. Murray is bringing his units down here. He has finished expanding over there. They are increasing their economy. After this one's fully constructed, he could build a city here. And there we go. I think it's got quite a lot of heavily damaged strikers. They could have all have gone down if the enemy's SAM just picked their targets a little better, which you can't control. So that might have been a bit of luck going towards Yellow's favour, but this SAM going out on his own is definitely not going to happen. He has gone down and he's sunk into the lake. At least the pilot had a soft landing. So both teams are facing off in the centre, staring each other's defence right now. Daz and Nubs not content on trying to hold a defensive line. Both players want to keep the pressure up on each other and see which one breaks first. It looks like Daz is probably not going to do so good. Most of Nubs' units is kind of curving around the forces of Daz, sorry. But we do have some interceptors in play right now. And hey, look, those submarines can get through this gap. Now we know. There we go. So these submarines are coming around. Daz has this available, but it doesn't look like he's got many units out. He's just got 2. I think Daz thought he was safe. Didn't realise, just like I didn't, that you could actually go around that gap. So the tanks are moving forward. They're also taking territories because they're pretty good at taking the territories. And it looks like Bravo team is content on trying to focus their defense with air units. The strikers and bombers are coming in to try and take over this group of tanks. The tanks are desperately trying to shoot the air units, but I think Nubs is retreating there. He's got a couple of tanks going forward and a couple are going back. But Daz's artillery are moving in to take on this defensive line. Is that defense? Or are they just stood there? It looked a bit like defense. I might be wrong. Up in the north over here, we've got a push from yellow, but it looks like it's been lost. Blue team, Mr. Murray is pushing forward. We've got some black lines being set up now. There we go. Now we can see everyone's commands. So blue is definitely going to push forward there. Mr. Murray is... Not Mr. Murray, sorry. Numpty is trying to defend against Mr. Murray. And blue is just setting up a line around the enemy. He's trying to trap them in and put pressure on. And just keep pressing forward, slowly squeezing the enemy. And this tactic does seem to be working. Both players are doing it. They've got lines here. They're just doing it slightly differently. We've got blue lines here, which means they'll prioritize the movement and not build any defense. Just keeping their formation. We've got orange lines here now, so they're going to attack as they move there, and they'll prioritize attacking as they get there. These submarines are taking on the docks over here. They can't take on the town, but they will be able to destroy that docks. Daz has noticed this, so he's sending some air units on their way. It's probably made him a little confused, but he could have thought of this area too, so... There we go, and Daz does have this bit as well, so he's going to have trade routes set up and everything, which would be great, but now he's got to worry about submarines. And I bet Daz thought that was kind of a safe location for him. Over here we have the tanks moving in. They're still capturing the territories. They're just going around the enemy for now. Artillery in the center, just before the mountains. As they move in here, they're going to be moving a lot slower. So these artillery are doing a lot of damage to any units that come over there. And the front lines over on this side of the map, up in the north, seem to be becoming a bit more intense. And probably quite intimidating for Numpty. There is a gap for air units over here. I mean, these SAM units aren't going to be able to reach there. But that's about it for now. And it does have a lot of air units, which you could make use of if he can get around the SAM. Over here, I can't see any submarines left. Oh, they're here. So these submarines are going to be moving in. They are going against destroyers, and destroyers do really well, but I don't think one destroyer can take on 4 submarines. 4 destroyers definitely could, but they're coming in one at a time. I don't think those submarines will win in the long run, but they will be able to snipe one, which is exactly what they did. They hit and ran, which is exactly what you want to use them for. Over here, the bombers have spotted the tanks. They're coming in. The tanks are going in through the sides. But they're 2 damaged tanks. I don't think they're going to do very well at this point. They're just going through the line of reinforcements. They may slow Daz's pressure down, but it looks like Nubs is the one putting on the pressure right now. There we go. Mr. Murray has separated his units up. It looks like the aircraft were called over in this area. taken out some of those defensive units, which is why Mr. Murray has changed up his SAM positioning. Nubs down here is putting up pressure. You can see he's moved the orange lines forward again. So these units will be putting pressure on, continuing their march towards Daz's base. And I think Daz is going to focus a lot on the water, and I think he might be a bit distracted about the water and what's going on land, which is unfortunate. He's got control relatively of the water, and I know Nubs had submarines being built quite a while ago, so does have a few, and he's just capturing some extra territory with that now. Let's have a quick look at their eco. So we've got player 1, Mr. Murray, who has 1,000 already. I can see aircraft being called in, so I just thought I'd check. Player 2, which is Nubs, at nearly 800. At 800, there we go. Then we go for player 3, Numpty, who is at 500 because he's been squashed in between blue and a little bit of red, but a lot of his ally as well, because they started so close to each other. And Daz, who did manage to push Nubs out a bit, which gave him some extra pressure, but it's only given him an eco of 800. The air control is doing really well over here, but they are flying straight into a group of SAM. 2 groups of SAM. And unfortunately, I don't think they're going to be able to target those SAM down quick enough. They might be able to get these, but there's some more SAM moving in towards this location. It does look like this is a complete squeeze now. We've got Nubs pushing in. I think Mr. Murray's just waiting for the right time to attack forward. And he's slowly been increasing his economy throughout this entire game at this point. I can't remember what his economy was. 1,100. So he's doing very well for himself right now. He's got a city up and running. Obviously the trade route at the beginning, there isn't much they can fall back on as islands. There is this one. But Nubs has the pressure on right now. Where'd they come from? Oh, so he's got his navy unit, air unit, sorry, coming up from here, and he's set a line command to go straight in this way, partly as a scout by the looks of it, and hoping to get around some SAM units. But we have some anti-air moving out in that direction as well. I think these guys are searching for submarines, because the interceptors are very good at finding stealth units and structures. So they're great things to try and use to scout out the enemy location. Down here it looks like Numpty and Daz are pushing red together, but blue is sending some forces in to help red as well, so they are both pressuring over here. And I do think that soon Mr. Murray is going to take these guys off and send them all in. Down here, some strikers are trying to come in through the side of it, which is directly away from the SAM, but they are still going to get hit by the SAM. And there is a group of tanks here, a flower of tanks just waiting for their orders. But this group of tanks can do a lot of damage, and he's got another one there and another 2 coming in. So I do get the feeling that Nubs has a plan for these tanks, and we are just watching him implement that plan right now. He's going to sneak right through the line of the battle, right behind Yellow's forces, and sneak straight into the base. I would say sneak. They're literally going to rush past him and hope they get through. They don't care if he sees. Over on this side, I see some activity. Do we have those subs coming in now? No, but he does have another navy yard there. And he is trying to bring some more submarines around. Maybe they got caught out if they did come around. It looks like these tanks have been spotted. We've got a lot of air units moving into here to try and stop anything from going on there. The tanks are pretty powerful, and he's got them right into the middle of Daz's base. They can wreak a lot of havoc here. And there is not really a lot that Daz can do about this at the moment. He's got some units around that can protect him, but if Nubs wants to take something out, all he's got to do is click his mouse and point. So these tanks are going straight for this structure here. I assume he's just trying to stop any trading that's happening, which we can see that Daz does have a good bit of trade routes going on right now. I would like to check his economy, actually. Must suck what he's got for territory gains, but he must be keeping it alive with the eco trade routes. But those tanks are moving very fast towards this structure, and that is going to disrupt the trade, because killing the town will destroy the docks, and the docks will stop the trade route. So this one little structure here is going to cause a lot of damage if Nubs can take it out, which I think at this point is quite likely. There it goes. One large explosion, and then these units don't know what to do. And Daz is out of energy as well. He's been struggling for energy for a little bit. He does have some places he can put energy as well, up in the corners here. It's just having the money to do it, especially when you're under so much pressure at this point in the game. He's even trying to fight tanks with SAM units here. But he doesn't really have that much of a choice. Yellow's under a lot of pressure here, and Blue could probably push forward right now with all of these units. But I think he's waiting for Yellow to forcibly redirect his defensive lines. As you can see, both teams are pushing against the players. Some structures are starting to go down as well. The SAM unit there is going to take out that heli. And over here we got the units that took out some of the tanks, but the tanks did run away. They are going to try and chase the tanks this way right now, but the tanks are destroying everything on their way out. And to make matters worse, the bombers are coming in. And I think Mr. Murray just likes the intimidation strategy here. He's just holding on there. There is literally no escape. They're being attacked from the south. They couldn't even run this way if they wanted to. So all of that army is well worth their money, sat there just intimidating the opponent. But he does have a large force going in to attack the base as well. So it is literally that he's trapping the enemy in there. Right, what about Nubs' navy now? He's got quite a few submarines in there. And they're backed up by cruisers, which is actually a really good choice, because to destroy the subs, you're going to need destroyers. So the opponent's got destroyers, and to counter those, you've got cruisers. So pretty much only air units is going to defeat this navy force at the current state of the game. But neither enemy player has a sufficient air force to do so. I thought I could hear a rocket. So Blue's built a rocket down here. He's sending that right in. I believe he's going to target about here, because the factory and this defensive line looks like it's going a bit further in. There we go. He went for the airfields instead. It looks like he did manage to kill quite a few of these units as well. So unless I'm seeing things and that was from somewhere else. A lot of units are putting in a lot of shelling in that area. So here we've got the submarines fighting destroyers. There's only 4 destroyers against 6 subs, maybe more at the time. I mean, some have been destroyed. But now the cruiser comes in, I don't really think they've got much of a chance to survive that at all. Over in this section we have Red setting up some extra defenses behind his own forces. The SAMs will be defended and can take some extra damage if necessary, because the aircraft do prioritize SAM units. So any extra defense you can give them is always a good thing, really. And they've got another rocket being built right now. They have aircraft on the move. You can see they're coming in this way. So it looks like blue is going literally around the enemy here, getting right into the back of the enemy and pretty much taking out what the nuke couldn't. So there's a lot of damaged structures in this area, so it will not take long for these units to take out most of these structures, and it looks like he's given up with the waiting game. He is pushing all of his forces through, and he's put them on red arrow commands instead of flag commands. So you can see Numpty here is using flag commands, so he'll try and capture territory even when he's trying to defend. These orange arrow commands will just try and attack. They don't care about capturing territories, and they will just push forward as fast as possible to try and take out anything that's in their way. Over here, the cruiser and submarines did manage to get quite far into this, but I don't think they're going to last much longer since he switched into cruisers himself, and the cruiser is focused on the trade ship there. I don't think he's going to last too much longer. On the ground though, we do have quite a few forces moving in. We're continuing to push forward. We have a fairly large battle here. Let's have a quick look on this sort of camera. I do love this free camera. It does make some great thumbnails. Look at this force. Do you like these free cameras? If you do, let me know in the comments. I'll try and use them a bit more often in these games. Yellow is doing their best to defend in that section, but unfortunately there is too much forces overwhelming the area. And not only that, the enemy did breach the back end of the base, and Numpty has waved the white flag. He has given in, and Daz has also given in at this point as well. So, Alpha Team won that. That was Nubs and Mr. Murray. And they did so pretty well. I think a lot of that had to do with the initial trade route setup that was completely undisturbed and just grew. That was a really good eco play right at the beginning. However, as you can see from the graph, that eco gain only was a little bit early on in the game. But with the trade routes, it does just expand later on as well. Daz was only able to get up his trade route a bit later on in the game, so it wasn't quite as effective enough, but both players were able to hold their grounds quite well. Let me know what you think. And I don't think there was too much going on with these. The treasury, it looks like Alpha Team was able to hold more cash for longer and only spend it when they really needed it, I suppose. So, anyway, there are 2 videos on screen right now. Feel free to subscribe and check out one of those videos, and I'll see you there. Thanks for watching.